How's it going, guys? Yeah, I know it's been a while, so I'm sorry about that. I've been really busy for a while, but hey, I'm finally back, and I'm back to talk about PvP. Yeah, I'm kind of late on the subject, but better late than ever. You know what they say. So, season 1 is over, and I just want to come in and give my thoughts on every new feature we got. How did it go for me? What I would like to change, and everything. Keep in mind, this is just my opinion, okay? I'm just gonna give a personal insight, and you're totally free to disagree. And I'll be happy to read your feedback in the comments below. Okay, so to start off, I would like to say that I love and I also hate PvP. In my opinion, I think it was a great idea, you know. It was a great addition to One Piece Treasure Cruise. We got a whole new game mode, and you can really feel that it took them a lot of work, because once they came up with this new game mode, like, you saw this whole range of new units they worked on with completely new abilities and stuff like that. And each of them have their own abilities, but not only that, they've also managed to create counters to these abilities, which is huge. You know that some thoughts was put into it, and they actually know what they're doing and how to, like, put in place a player versus player game mode. It's not just like, yeah, let's just give him that and give him that. They actually thought about some ways to counter everything that was put in place. And you know, with that, it gives us a very broad choice in terms of team building. And I gotta say, that's what I enjoy the most about One Piece Treasure Cruise. So yeah, I would like to congratulate them for that. You know, a lot of work was put into it, so I gotta respect it. But obviously, it can't be perfect. I'm not trashing the game mode for sure. I'm just gonna criticize it a bit. Also, this video won't be just my thoughts. It's kind of like a collection of ideas I've had through going through Reddit and talking with other people on Discord and stuff. And I want to give a big shout out to Big Brain Fate of Muffins for all the work he's done and all the very smart in-depth analysis he did. This guy wrote big threads on Reddit that I would highly suggest you take a look at while I was watching Pokemon fake compilations on YouTube. Okay, so let's take a look at the fights against the pre-selected teams. Okay, so as you can see, every team you beat unlocks a new facility, which I will go over later. And it's really easy. So it kind of like straight off proved that the battle points was not a reliable source. It does not mean anything, so do not refer to that. And you know, you got this feature where Bandai could automatically generate you a team, which will give you your highest battle point. But these I would not recommend at all, because these teams are lacking the most important element in PvP, which is the synergy between the units. But the problem is, it is our only way to test out teams without spending resources. And this is a big issue because we're not able to have a realistic idea of how well your team would do in PvP without getting like head first into the battle. The only somewhat relevant team is the Stickman team that you can fight against. But still, those units you have are not leveled up, so it's not really that useful to fight them because they're not going to do much damage and you're just going to destroy it really easily. So again, this will not give you a sharp idea of how you would do in like real-time PvP. We need a way to try our teams out, because obviously, as I said, this is the best aspect about PvP, is that you're going ahead, trying, failing, and in the end putting up the best team you can do. But this is impossible without wasting gems, basically. And so this comes back to my point at the beginning, where I praised Bandai for the new mode, but at the same time, the fact that we have to go in, and if we fail, it's all on us and we have to spend more gems. It does not encourage the creation of new teams, because what's gonna happen is everybody's just gonna stick to the same team, because why lose gems? Do you know what I mean? And I feel like most of it has to be unexplored, because why would I try? Fuck it, let me just put a bullet and just do as everybody else, because I'm not gonna go out there and just try new teams, because obviously it's gonna be on me and I'm gonna lose all my gems. So I heard about an interesting idea involving your friends, where you could be able to fight your friends, no risk, no reward. You just like fight them. It could be like a limited amount of times, but it would be super great if we could fight better teams than the teams we're given. Then we have the shop where you can spend your PvP tickets against some items. I personally always take the rare recruit tickets, because at this point I would just do anything just for a chance of getting Sabo and Koala, but that's just me. The gems are not worth it in my opinions. You do what you want, but I wouldn't take it. The PvP flags though, they're very important, because at this point in time they're pretty rare, and I'm already out of PvP flags because you need them for so many units, so many different units. So I would recommend getting every flag you can, including in the Rayleigh shop. Now let's take a look at the facilities. Okay, so with the facilities you can go up to level 35, and from level 5 onwards the highest you can go will be determined by your ranking. Okay, so to get to the level 35 you will need to achieve top 1k in finals, but just once. After that you're able to go to the maximum level and you won't have to rank that high again, but you have a ton of time to prepare for that, as the last levels cost an absurd amount of ticket. And I believe from Fate of Muffins that it would take the average player around 4 years to max everything. Yeah, so that's a lot of time. Is it ridiculous though? Not really, I don't think so, because if you think about it, the goal of this new mode is to make it relevant for as much time as possible. I would have done the same if I was at their seat, knowing the nature of OPTC at the game. Plus, eventually we'll get more tickets, you know, same as TM with the tablets and stuff like that. That's always how it works. The stamina fountain, so it increases your natural stamina, but only by a few points, and in my opinion not enough to be interesting. Okay, so I wouldn't spend my tickets on that. We have the Naruto training dummy, and even at max level you only get like 200 points a day, which is not worth the amount of ticket you would put in. There's a Betty cave. Then we have the stamina refill. So this one could be interesting for the natural stamina players, the natties. Personally, I'm the type that never spends just one gem on refill. Whether it's a Colosseum, a treasure map, anything, I don't look at the gem I spend in refill, and I will just go again and again until the objective is complete. If I'm to fight a Colosseum, I'm just gonna spend as many gems as it needs to until I max him. That's how it works. And then once I'm done, well, I won't have to use my stamina again, so it will just sit there. So not necessarily interesting for me, but for the players that like to take their time, use all the time they're given, because if you look at it, you have like a couple weeks to do a couple Colosseum. You also have like 2 weeks to max out a raid boss, and this could be done with natural stamina. And for them, it could be a good advancement. You stack up 2 meats and you keep the gems. But I wanna point it out, it does not refill your treasure map stamina bar. I've already tried it. It's unfortunate, but it doesn't work. The fishing dugong. So this one can get you evolvers, regular EXP, PvP flags, and USBs on super success. So the flags are really good on one hand, but on the other hand, you have like EXP and the evolvers, which you can get really easily. So it's up to you. It's good for beginners though. The boat dugong. So this one can get you bellies, tomes, limit break potions, support medals, skulls, beetles, and gems on super success. This one, I feel like it looks quite interesting. Well, obviously the rates are not going to be like through the roof, but it's still something I would consider with the support medals, which I'm really lacking. So it could be really interesting for me to get more support medals, because I don't know where to get it. They're really being greedy with support medals. In my opinion, I don't have enough of them. And then we have the mining dugong. This one provides limit break materials and can also provide tablets on super success. And this one is interesting as well. You know, some people they just hate treasure maps, you know what I mean? Whenever the treasure map times comes out, they're like, oh my god, I don't want to have to deal with this. It won't replace what you get in treasure map, but it's less effort for more rewards. You know, you won't have to do as many runs. You can just do your usual runs and then get more reward from that without doing anything. And also think about this new feature, this recent feature we have, which is the limit break plus, which everybody knows at this point that it costs an absurd amount of materials. And so with that in account, any additional limit break is completely welcome. The cotton candy facility, well, I would say that I feel like prioritizing cotton candy is like giving a limit break key to a legend that only had stats. It's just to flex, basically. It's just to be like, oh hey, look at my buggy, he's plus 600, what are you gonna do now? So unless you're going for run 500 on TM or those very competitive places, extra cotton candy won't be a game changer in my opinion most of the times. Maybe like one-time event like forest or gap challenges, or also units which would actually could make a big difference, like Kaido, Super Mask and stuff like that. This would actually benefit them quite a bit. But the way I would approach this is that I'm gonna use the same strategy as I do with the keys, is that I'm only gonna upgrade it if I'm really in the need. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep some tickets floating around, and if I see that I need some extra attack, some extra HP or stuff like that, then I will go ahead and upgrade it. But if I don't need it, then I will just hold back. And then we come to the gem tree. Okay, so this one is what I would recommend you focus on, because think about it, the gem is the most valuable resource in OPTC. Anything provided by other facilities can be acquired directly or indirectly through the gems. Most of the others only have just one single utility, whereas the gem can be used as you like. And the faster you upgrade it, the more gems you gain, right? But as you know, it gets really expensive down the road. So yeah, what I did personally is that I upgraded it to like level 25, and I kept some tickets around and just upgraded other facilities to a level which didn't count much. So around level 8, level 9, it didn't cost much. It was like probably 150 or 200 tickets to go there. And then I just keep the rest for eventual cotton candy I would need. But all the main chunk of my tickets are gonna go into the gem tree. It's a good investment and I highly recommend you do the same. Okay, now let's talk about the main thing, the actual PvP. Okay, so you have 3 consecutive preliminary battles, and if you can manage to get in top 7,000 in any of them, then you'll be part of the finals. Okay, each of them have rules, but unfortunately I didn't feel like these rules actually made a difference. So in the first season, in the preliminary, I believe we had like something like free spirit characters had their stat boosted. I think that it was the attack, and then in the finals it was driven. But I would like more variety, as in, couldn't they go with like class restriction? It would be cool, or anything like that, you know. My dream would be to be able one day to use the DeCalvin brothers at their full potential. I know it's gonna come, and I know I'm gonna be totally satisfied. But anyways, it doesn't have to be every time, you know. There's a rule for every section, so it could encourage diversifying teams, and that would be super interesting and less boring than to have to fight Snake Man over and over again. So you have 3 battles a day, and you can choose to spend a gem to refill. Last finals, I did top 1k. In total, I ended up doing around 800 fights, and wow, it consumes way too many gems. Way. It's way too much. I spent over 150 gems just to get to top 1k. It didn't feel good, because what happened is, like, when you're 50 gems in, you're like, come on, I just need to go all the way, otherwise this would have been for nothing. So I wanted to do that top 1k once, so I did it. But again, you have time to be able to reach that final level in facilities. So I don't know, wait until it's less consuming and just see how things evolve, and then from that you can make your decision. But yeah, one of the big problems is that it feels really unsatisfying, because one gem refill in comparison to treasure map or extra island, you get less playtime. Because if you think about it, with 3 fights, let's say you're gonna take, I don't know, 10 to a minute to choose your opponent, you're just gonna let the fight play out. It's just gonna take 1 minute, and so you times it by 3, you're, I don't know, 6 minutes, and that's it. That's your gem gone for 6 minutes. Whereas like in extra island, let's say for me, for example, I have like 350 stamina. I can play quite a while with just 1 gem of refill. Same with treasure map. The treasure map is like around 15 minutes, and 1 gem is 1 run and a half. So compared to that, spending a gem on the PvP feels way less satisfying. You play your 3 games and like, what? I already have to spend 1 extra gem? The hell? We need additional fights. I'd say 5 just to start, because 3 is ridiculous. 3 is ridiculous. So first of all, you need to set your defense team, okay? That is the team that will display when your opponent has to pick a team to fight. And if you successfully defend, you will earn extra tickets. Now, another big issue with that is that you're completely blind to what's happening. There's no way to know how many times you were challenged, and you can't beat an extremely hard team to beat because no one will challenge you. You know, when I see those teams like Snake Man, Big Mom, Bullet, I'm like, nope, it's not happening. Let me just refresh. And if it's too weak, well, then you're giving away easy points. I'm not spitting on that. I'll take it every time. But you're not gonna earn extra tickets from it. Basically, defending becomes a waste of a potential gain for you if your team is too weak. But so how do I know if people are just not gonna challenge me, or if I'm getting gangbanged over and over? How? I wish we could see how the fights played out. But if it's not possible, then at least show us how many times our teams were challenged. It will give me an idea of how to react and change things around so I can make the best of it. It only makes sense to me. And the way things are now, I'm completely oblivious to what's happening with my defending team. I earn tickets here and there, but I don't know how many times that I was challenged. Also, the best way to earn tickets from defending is to go fairly high as soon as possible to have more chance to be picked, because the higher you go, the less choice you have, and the higher you go, the harder are the teams. And so if you give them an illusion that your team is easy to beat, then people are just going to jump on that team. That is the best case scenario. If you can manage to set your defense team as like a big trap, and people who don't want to fight those insane snakeman teams are just going to choose you, and then boom, they get surprised. Let's take a look at the options you have building your defense team. Let's take a look at a full defensive team, okay? In my opinion, these are not great. The most important rule is that you lose if you can't defeat your opponent in 100 seconds, right? And from there, it was natural that some people would choose a full defensive team and stall out this time, right? But those teams in particular ended up being my praise when I was trying to rank high, because I won 98% of the time. The only times I lost was because of a couple bugs that happened here and there that we'll go over later. Simply put, if you put a full defensive team, my logical reaction is to build a team fully concentrated on attack. And if you leveled up correctly, then your team would output more damage than the defensive team could tank or heal. You know, you throw some HP cuts here and there, some defense reduction, you throw in your AoEs, your fixed damage, and after 2 or 3 rounds of your special, well, there isn't much of these teams left. Especially because after 30 seconds, all units get their defense reduced. So it's only bad for the defense team. What are your other options? A team concentrated fully on attack? Okay, we could consider it. I've seen it already. It requires good preparation though. You would need a lot of speed, a lot of attack. It caught me off guard the first times, because basically what happened is that I'll go into the game and this guy would just spam me with attacks over and over. My own units couldn't even get an attack through. They were just getting rammed. And then these guys had their special before me, and before I know it, I'm done, and I couldn't even use one special. The whole team is gone. But if you can protect your heavy hitters and survive their first wave of special, well then it's highly likely they're gonna die, because those teams have no defense whatsoever. So a Snake Man, for example, is just gonna one hit KO them. Or you can go with a faster and stronger team. The third option you have is to mix attack and defense. And so if you have that set as your defending team, your opponent, if he chooses to go full attack, well then your team is set to protect your heavy hitters. And as he's going full attack mode, well then he has no defense. And once your heavy hitters are ready, well then they're just going to wipe him out. So most likely your opponent is gonna need some kind of defense to be able to survive your heavy hitters. But the problem is he can't have too much defense on his side, because contrary to you, he has the time limit. And this is your biggest advantage on the defensive side. If your defense units provide a high resistance, but you don't have enough firepower to finish the other guy's teams, it's okay, you win by time limit. And if he focuses too much on attack, well then he is severely threatened by your heavy hitters, who when they come in play will most likely one hit KO them. Let's take an example at a couple defensive teams I made. We have Kobe there, and honestly Kobe is just a laughable bait. Like, I don't even know why I expect this to work, because it's like one of the most obvious trick now. Always check for the whole team and always check for their levels. A level 1 Snake Man is clearly not the same threat as a level 9 Snake Man, and Kobe will just get immediately killed and replaced by bullets. So he's just essentially here to waste an enemy's attack. Zola and Rebecca, so they're a low cost, really nice unit in my opinion. So you have like a very large heal, and then they also give an attack boost, and their passive ability reduces the cooldowns. So yeah, I thought they would be nice at the time. And then we have Lucci, whose special is really good in my opinion. So he reduces the defense for 10 seconds and does medium range AoE. With good defense, those AoE can be handled like pretty easily. This is why I've opted for defense reduction built in to make sure I do more damage. Also, he has a cooldown of 32 seconds, and in the ideal scenario, the defense will still be reduced for Snake Man's AoE, but it's not likely honestly. We have Sanji there, who reduces the defense for only 6 seconds, right? But it's mostly for his great damage. He can easily output 6 to 8k, but the huge downside is that his range is really limited. Bullet and Snake Man I don't think need to be introduced anymore, and Kaido is just there because he's just 20 cost and he's boosted, right? But the huge problem, this was my earliest defense team, right? And the huge problem it has is that it has no synergy at all. If you look at Lucci's passive, he boosts shooters and Sanji boosts int, and that's not what you want. They're just boosting themselves. You can do much better than that. And also this team has no defense whatsoever. There's only Bullet as a defense unit, but he boosts his own defense, and the rest are extremely vulnerable. The main targets, right, are Sanji and Snake Man in the team, because by themselves they can just end the game, right? But as I said, the defense on this team is inexistent. So if you can get AoEs that are faster than my two guys right there, well then they're highly likely to get destroyed. And the second team I made, which was one of my more recent teams, well then you have Bullet again here as a decoy, and also with for his really good passive ability which boosts the 3 colors, right? And so he's the unit with the highest HP and the highest attack, and I put him on the front line. So even without his special, right, he's the one who is highly likely to get targeted by my enemies. And then we have Tesoro. I only started using him recently, so he's not leveled up correctly, right? So he does like small AoE around 1k, it's fixed damage, and the increased defense to the whole team, right, can go up to level 7, which is huge. The downside of that is that he only does it in a very small area. So the likely scenario with that team is that Big Mom is gonna be behind and he's gonna be closer to Bullet, and in the best case Fuji, right? So he's gonna boost their defense, but Big Mom is highly likely to be out of the equation. But that makes Bullet like whew, tanky as hell, because he would have had his special by then. That was also because at the time the driven units were boosted. Otherwise I feel like I would have gone rather for a unit like Shank's crew instead of him. Then we have Fujitora V1 6+, and this man is dangerous. Some people, they don't really like HP cuts because in the end those are not going to be able to kill. And it's true that by the second, third time you're using the special, it's really not as useful. But on the defense side, it doesn't matter whether or not you kill your enemies, and 50% HP cut is huge, and it does not care about your defense. And I think those type of special, the HP cuts, are the one that have the highest range. It basically touches the whole map. There's just only a few instances where one is gonna avoid it, but most of the time you're just gonna reduce the whole enemy's team HP by 50%, just like that. And he also have a really good passive ability boosting Driven's HP. So you have Bullet who does HP cut, Kaido who also does an HP cut, Fuji who also does an HP cut. You also add on top of that the normal attacks, and this is where Big Mom comes in play, right? After all this stuff, all this damage dealt that realistically cannot be reduced, you can't do anything about this type of damage. So mine does not have a high level, but if she was like level 7 to 8 plus, well, then this would be insane. She's only level 4 now, but she has like really good range, really good damage, really good passive ability, increasing further the HP of my strength, dex, and quick characters, which is making them harder to take down. And so by that point you should be scared of Big Mom, because you've lost close to 70% of your HP and you couldn't even do anything about it. And then we have Akainu as my 6th unit, right? So this is why I put Kaido in front, okay? If the unit I would have put was like Kobe or something, he would get clapped instantly, and then my Akainu would show up too early, right? Ideally, you want Akainu to appear between 50 and 30 seconds left, so he can utilize his special also ideally under 30 seconds, which does up to 6k damage fixed, cannot be reduced once again. And with all that HP cut I mentioned before, if you don't heal, well, I don't see many units surviving that. And also he was a replacement to Snake Man. I didn't want my team to look too beefy. If I had a Snake Man there, then yeah, nobody would touch that. And in the end, I also added up those one cost unit, which many people do, but I wouldn't advise on disregarding them. They actually came in clutch in a couple instances, and I was surprised that those one cost unit actually allowed me to win a couple games. So yeah, I had fought a similar team, which gave me the idea. And basically during the fight, Fuji was a pain in the ass because while Big Mom was basically untouchable because of Bullet and Tesoro, right? I could not approach her. I knew her special was gonna come. I knew it was gonna come. And by the time it came, I didn't have enough HP. No matter what, I did not have enough HP. So I started to opt for a healer, right? I used Shirahoshi, which would heal me after the 50% HP cut from Fujitora. And what ended up happening is that because I used Shirahoshi and a unit to increase my defense to tank the hit from Big Mom, I ended up having not enough time to finish his team. And this is what this team, in my opinion, is pretty great. Because if you focus too much on surviving, you're not gonna have enough time to finish all the units. And you're gonna need a strong attack because that Big Mom is hard to get. Now let's go on the attacking side. So the winning streak is really important because when you're on the streak, you gain extra tickets. And if you lose, well, you're gonna miss out on points, meaning you're gonna be spending more gems. And the biggest advantage you have on the attacking side is that you can choose your team accordingly to the defense team. So basically you have the opportunity to get a counter to everything your opponent has prepared. And so to keep your streak, right, I would advise, instead of, because obviously you have the choice between 3 teams, right? The top one giving the less point and the bottom one giving the more points. But if you feel like all the teams at the bottom are just too hard for you, just pick one that gives you less points and you're sure beating. It's better that than losing your streak. And also work on your attacking team. Work on the best team you can get, because I made the mistake, yeah, as I said, of just looking at everybody's defense team and being like, oh, that unit, yeah, that unit's really good. Oh yeah, there's that unit as well. And I ended up spending a lot of flags on those units, which I ended up not using because the choice was too broad and they didn't fit in the teams I wanted to make in the end. So focus on one, and if it's leveled up correctly, well, then it will make a big difference. Okay, so I have saved up 3 videos, okay, of me taking on 3 types of team to kind of like show you guys how it goes, and I will go over them and comment what's going on, right? The first team we're gonna take a look at is the full defense team, okay? As you can see, my attacks don't do that much damage because the team I'm against have, well, those type of teams have a very high base defense, right? But that's not what I'm focused on. The main focus in those type of teams are the specials, which will bring me to my other point, which is one of the most important point in PvP, is how specials are activated and how much they depend on the speed of your units, right? So if you look at it, a special can be ready, right? It could be ready, but you're gonna have to wait on that specific unit next attack so they can be using it. The best case scenario is that they've already attacked quite a while ago, and then the special is ready and then they attack immediately after, wasting you no time. The worst case scenario though is having a character hit right before his special is ready, because what's gonna happen is you're gonna have to wait until it's his turn again to attack for him to use his special, and this is very critical. It does not matter that much for units that have a really high speed, but those really slow units, it could be completely detrimental. You can find yourself waiting for much longer than the initial cooldown, just because, yeah, bad timing, I guess. And this is like extremely important, because that most of the time is what makes or break the game. So Bole in that team, I would say, isn't really useful. He's mostly used because he's the one I've leveled up and I can use his stat boost. But honestly, the defense teams are not too dangerous damage wise. So yeah, what happened there is that, as you can see, Frankie attacked right before his special was ready, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. He was a couple seconds too early, and what ended up happening is that he could not increase the team's defense, and it gave the opportunity to my Ini to do a ton of damage. And then you have Lucci coming in. And yeah, it happened to my Sanji as well though. As you can see, he attacked right before his special was ready, making me wait for his next turn. Yeah, also Snake Man, most frustrating thing is that his special is only like middle range, I'd say, and there's so many times where I found my Snake Man hitting like some random units and just like pretty much wasting the special basically. And this is another reason why I dropped Sanji and just stopped using him, because I realized that even though in his special he reduced defense, right, as you can see he only did 2k damage where he's supposed to be doing 7k. And I was like, man, I thought this defense reduction would really be at my advantage, right? And so yeah, I stopped using him because I felt like for the very small range he has, it's not worth taking the risk of missing like every other unit just to do like that small amount damage. And then yeah, that's a GG. Okay, so now this is the most recent team I'm using to combat those highly defense focused teams, right? Because at some point I was like, wait, yeah, why would I reduce the defense and then attack when I can just do fixed damage, right? So I decided to put White Beard because of his insane HP cut just right off the bat. And then you have Low, Aokiji and Carrot doing fixed damage, and Snake Man because it's Snake Man. What can you do? Also, Carrot and Aokiji have a very large range, and you have this Low and Aokiji kind of work great together because with Low special he's gonna increase the chance of getting a critical, and then Aokiji boost everybody's attack once he hit a crit. So that's pretty good having them together. Carrot, obviously with her special, she's gonna make the cycle of special faster, which pretty much guarantees that the defense team won't last. This team has never lost against a defense team. So now let's take a look at a more attack-based team, right? Viola and Rebecca and Shirahoshi are not legend tiers, so their heal slash defense up is not going to be very relevant. I've recorded this quite a while ago, so I don't really remember all the details, but from what I can see, his units are not really leveled up because I can see that they don't have this overwhelming advantage of speed, right? A good free spirit team that is like correctly leveled up, that would smash me many times over before I can put out an attack. My 6th unit Kaido came in and instantly used his special, which is something I'm not gonna lie, I'm quite confused about it, because I've seen some instances where the cooldown gets reduced, sometimes not, sometimes they come in with less HP. I've seen some come with full HP, some with half HP, so I don't really get how it works. It's super inconsistent. Sometimes like even the 7th unit got its cooldown reduced. I don't even know. Maybe someone can clear me up on that, but it just feels really inconsistent. And last one is gonna be against a more optimal team. Now these teams are the teams you want to avoid, right? You got Whitebeard, 40% HP cut, the lowest cooldown for maximum damage from his special. And obviously he's gonna be on the first line to be targeted by most units. And so it gives him a chance to activate his passive ability, which below 30% increase the attack of all units, plus he gives himself a defense boost to level 8. That's insane. Whitebeard is best put on the first line to get to that threshold much easier, and even if he gets killed, it's highly likely that he would have had his 40% HP cut do all the work before. You know how it is, Snake Man and Big Mom are just here to put you to sleep. Cracker is someone you're gonna see really often in that type of teams because of his passive ability. Cracker is mainly here for his passive ability, right? It reduces the cooldown. And what's gonna happen is that the specials on the enemy's team are gonna be ready faster. And then you got Hody increasing the defense of powerhouse character to tank an eventual Snake Man. And yeah, well, I got lucky at that point because my team was completely spread out. You might say at the end of the day that looked alright, and those teams was not as hard to beat as they're known to be, but I want to emphasize again that the teams I thought were not correctly leveled up, right? If it was, because as you notice, they didn't do a lot of damage and they were pretty easy to take down. When they're leveled up, it's a big deal, and every mistake you make by RNG and stuff like that, you're gonna feel it for sure. And now let's talk about the things that really pissed me off while playing PvP. I swear to God, it's been a long time I haven't been that frustrated over a game. Okay, missing is frustrating, right? But I get it. There needs to be a way so two fights cannot play out the same. Okay, this I could kind of, it's annoying, but I could get behind. Or the most thing that pisses me off is the placing. The fact that there's no way to control the placing whatsoever. And so you get stuff like, I don't know, as I told you, Bullet using his special and then putting himself in the middle of my team just in plain sight for Snake Man to butcher me. My Snake Man hitting that one dude that got lost while my team just aligned itself so the enemy Snake Man has a perfect angle to wipe out all 5 of them. You know, I'm sure it happened to someone. There's that random further character who just came up on the stage, just isolating himself. There's like all the 4 other bodies are there, they're together, and Snake Man decides to attack that poor guy with like 1k HP. I'm like, okay, that was a waste. Also, when your enemy gets his turn of attack on the millisecond his special is ready, and like, oh well, that was extremely convenient. Or when you get slow units like Hody attacking right before using his special, and then because of how slow he is, he just never uses his special again. Or you got the knockback, for example. I would knock the enemy's Snake Man away, and then what happens, he actually puts him out of reach. So I knock him back and I actually make him safe. Another thing that makes absolutely no sense is that the full power attacks, I'm talking about those attacks that have like a little sound before and there's like a little moment before attacking. I don't know why is that, but these attacks can be interrupted by specials. I think the way they've coded it, I'm not an expert, so I'm just giving my theory on that, is that they basically counted the turn as your turn as over as soon as you're charging this attack. So when you're charging the attack, it basically gives the turn to anybody that's right after. And so what happens is that if it's your turn to attack, you start charging your attack, but I don't know, Bullet, it's Bullet time to attack right after. He's gonna come in, and let me tell you, he's gonna 100% interrupt your attack. 100%. This guy has so much reach. Anytime you're gonna have a full power attack, those attacks are the most important. They're the ones that do the most damage, and then just getting interrupted for no reason. Every time there's a heavy attack like that, it gets interrupted by specials, and it's annoying. It shouldn't be in the game. It even went so far as to one point I literally killed an enemy. The enemy was dead. He had no HP, right? I don't know, because basically imagine, okay, there was my Snake Man. He did a full power attack, and then there was the Shirahoshi, but the problem is Shirahoshi was pretty far away, right? If she was closer, she would have activated her special before I hit the enemy, but she was far away, so the damage was already done. And so what happened is, like, I killed the opponent, and suddenly Shirahoshi uses his special and he's back up again. He had like less than 1000 HP. I did 4k. He should be done, but because of that dumb rule where you can interrupt full power attack with special, he just came back to life and made my attack useless. Normally there was one enemy less on the field. He's still there. And don't even get me started on the bugs. How many times did my Inuarashi, for example, I don't know what's wrong with that guy, but he's the one that did that to me the most times. So what's gonna happen is you have Inuarashi, for example, he just decides to go behind the enemy and use his special. And what's gonna happen? Well, basically he just loses 20% of his HP and does damage to nobody, basically. I don't know what's the reason behind that, but he just puts himself behind and waits his special. Or you have this bug. I'm not sure. I feel like I have an explanation, but I feel like it's when you have your opponent who's moving. I don't know. It could, let's say he moves forward, right? And then he gets interrupted. What's gonna happen is that he's gonna get interrupted by my specials, but the problem is he moved forward. So I would have, for example, Carrot using his special. Oh, well, it misses because the guy is behind him, and for some reason I get a chain of all my specials, and all these guys keep coming to the same place. And oh my god, is it frustrating to lose because of some random bug where all your units are just gonna waste a special on a place where the enemy isn't even here anymore. I don't know if that ever happened to anybody. Maybe you can tell me in the comments, but that was those type of things really made me frustrated as hell, because you're just watching your screen and you're just asking yourself question, why is it doing that? Did I just lose the game because of that bullshit and stuff like that? And this is why I want to focus on building a blitz team, right? A team which could destroy my enemies quickly, fast. Because the problem with all those snakeman teams, if you're using a snakeman team yourself, is that you're way too reliant on the special to be in perfect condition. And with equal stats, right, it's just a matter of luck. It's a matter of who's gonna get it first, who has the most chaotic placing. But I want to be fair and say that the fact that I spread my tickets over so many units made it that my teams were not properly optimized, and for that reason, well, I might be missing on some extra defense or some extra attack that would have made my situation better. So in that regard, I do take in consideration that my teams were not optimized to take on those more dangerous teams. But still, you can't deny the fact that there's some heavy RNG that is just painful to watch, because there's so many instances where it's just a matter of luck. And when you're unlucky, well, too bad for you. Spend more gems, bro. Now I want to talk about the units I see the most often in the PvP, and I want to give a huge credit to Subconti, who did a video where he translated all the Legends abilities. Took him a lot of time, so I put that video in the description, and yeah, definitely refer to this one because he did a lot of work, and that's why us non-Japanese speaker really need it. Because my biggest issue was that I couldn't really get into building teams and stuff when you don't even know what's going on, who does what. It's complicated. For non-Japanese speaker, it's really complicated, and I really feel grateful that we have some people helping out and making the experience better for everyone. Let's start with Wildbin and Marco. So they do HP cut, self-heal. Their passive increase the rate of guard. Well, in my opinion, Wildbin 6+ is just plain better. The self-heal is not really significant, and the guarding is not really interesting when, you know, Wildbin and Marco are usually put in those defense team, and to beat them it's mostly focused on the special. So the you guarding is not gonna mean much to me because I'm not even focusing on the attack to begin with. Barto and Cavendish, attack plus guard up for driven characters plus the AoE, and his passive give defense up to driven and self attack. So it's really interesting for defense driven teams, because paired with a unit that would increase defense to fight against the enemy's specials, right? Plus the fact that he has base defense in his passive ability makes it really hard to kill. Plus he gives attack up and AoE, which is another threat the opponent has to take in consideration. So yeah, Bottle Cavendish, not bad. Luffy Law is not so great in my opinion. Like, he does fixed damage in AoE, but only 1.45 times his attack max to just one enemy. And his attack increase is really small. It's just level 2 to all units. It's not that significant. The only thing that's really good about him is his passive, increasing the attack of everybody, but there's better in my opinion. There's better. Sabo and Koala, AoE, reduce the defense for quite some time, and then another AoE, and then increase the rate of critical attacks, plus the speed, short cooldown. Well, really good for Blitz team. And you know what? They pair really well with Zoro Luffy, whose special increase the rate of critical. And when you get a critical, his passive increases the attack of Slasher and Free Spirit. So these two really go well together, and if you're leveled up correctly, well then they're just gonna attack over and over again, getting all those crits and then finish with their special. Yeah, they're interesting. Shanks crew. So the main advantage is that this unit increases the defense of all units on your team, and it has a very low cooldown, plus does an HP cut, which has its best value the sooner you're into the game, right? And then his passive ability, below 76 seconds, increase the allies' defense furthermore. So I would highly recommend this unit as a defense unit. He's really good. Snake Man, I feel like we talked enough about him, you know. He's one that's not gonna disappoint you if you invest your tickets in. He's just overall really good. But yeah, if you're to fight another team with Snake Man in, most of the time everything that's gonna be on your mind is how to make my Snake Man draw faster than the other one, and that's what it comes to. Whitebeard, we mentioned him, you know, he's really dangerous unit because of his insane HP cut on a very low cooldown. Lucci V1, okay, so this one is not really used, but I found him interesting because his passive increases the attack of powerhouse character, and for the first 25 seconds his own attack by up to plus 18. Okay, so in the right teams, from what I saw, he can deal like 4 to 5k plus in a single attack, plus he has like 194 speed, and he has the full power attack as well. So if you put him in a team that has like a lot of speed, he could be an interesting character. He could be able to like take out a key unit before any special is out, obviously knowing that the team you're facing does not have a very high base defense. Yeah, in that case, then yeah, he wouldn't be much use. But the only problem is with Lucci is that his attack stat will be so high that he's likely gonna be a priority target. Akainu, yeah, great unit, useless for the first 50 seconds. That's why he's best on the bench, but when he comes out on the 30%, man, he's good. He's really good. Inuarashi, great damage on a very low cooldown. His passive increases his attack by a lot, and the cerebral speed as well. So yeah, Inu could be quite dangerous because of how quick his special is for the damage he does. But I just kind of stopped using him because I was tired of him just wasting his special going behind the enemy. Big Mom, yeah, definitely one of those big threats. She's not really good against this defense team. Her special does not do much damage and can only be used once. So, but apart from that, yeah, definitely watch out for her. You need to be prepared. If you can't take out Big Mom, well then prepare yourself for her special. Bullet, 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 bullet. Karakuri is 6+. Another one that is not really used, but I just wanted to talk about him. Most people just, they think about reducing cooldowns with a cracker and stuff, but I actually got clapped by a Karakuri user. So what happened is, like, I used cracker myself to get the cooldown reduction, right? That was the time I started using cracker. But then what happened is, like, Karakuri, obviously his cooldown is faster, so he just slowed down everyone, and then the enemy's Snake Man just came in and sent me back to the border, and I was like, oh. So yeah, there's that solution as well. V1 Zoro, excellent in slasher blitz team. He's super fast. He's got AoE plus a defense down and then a crit hit rate up. He's pretty good. Usopp 6+. Well, then he's interesting because in his special run he's got a 30% plus HP cut, which is definitely not negligible. And then he has a 75% chance of silencing the enemies for 9 seconds. And his range is huge. And he could be an option to consider against the likes of Snake Man and stuff, because he's on a 30-second cooldown, right? And if the placing is not too ridiculous, he should be able to hit all units, right? So that could be a very interesting unit to play. Corazon, this guy is mainly here for his ridiculous passive ability. He increased the attack up to level 10 when he's above 70%. His special is crazy good as well because he gives good heal and a defense up, but my only problem with that is that it's a really short range. I think it's like Senji's range or something like that. It's really short, unfortunately. Very good, AoE, 70% chance of silencing the enemy with the highest attack, although it's only just one unit and only for 6 seconds, so that's kind of unfortunate because the highest attack does not mean the most dangerous, right? Let's say you have Bullet, he's most likely gonna have the highest attack, and his special is not dangerous. His AoE is really good though. Low V2, it's true, I don't see him often, but I really like him. I don't know, it's a personal thing, but yeah, he has a very substantial fixed damage AoE, right? And he increases the rate of crit, as I said, and for the first 50 seconds he speeds up to the striker characters to level 8, which is huge. Definitely will consider him in a striker blitz team, maybe, we'll see. Lucci V2, he's incredible in shooter blitz team. He has a high base speed. His passive up the speed up to level 7. His special is excellent AoE. So if you want to build a shooter team that goes fast, Lucci V2 is definitely one that you should not forget. Frankie, Frankie, you see him pretty often. I mean, to me he's just a great option to replace Shanks' crew. He's just a really great replacement. And now I don't really get why people use him. I don't know, he's never been a threat when I encountered Enels. I don't know, his cooldown is too high, and most of the time he just dies before having any relevance in the fight. So maybe I'm missing something, but I really don't see why Enel was so used. V1 Aokiji, excellent unit that I'm using very regularly. With his fixed damage in a really high range and 85% chance of biting the enemy for 5 seconds, and that is a huge deciding factor in Snake Man versus Snake Man teams, for example. He's super fast and will most likely get his special before Snake Man's. But watch out though, because some units have built-in resistance. Like Big Mom, for example, she has a chance to avoid bind, right? So you're gonna have to find another way to block her. And yeah, all this stuff, the built-in resistance stuff, I didn't have time to cover that, but it's in subconscious video. So if you want to take a look at it and learn about some extra advantages some units have, right? Tesoro, yeah, I talked about him before. Very recommended unit. It's pretty good. Carrot, she's an insane unit in Blitz team, but she does the high fixed damage in the large range, cooldown reduction. It usually means in her teams that the second round of special will come sooner. She has a really high speed in her passive and increases her own attack. Well, yeah, Carrot just goes fast. You know, she makes the team really fast. Definitely one to consider. Cracker, yeah, as I said before, mainly used for his passive, speeding up the cooldown of powerhouse and slasher characters, but it's not a guarantee. Again, I've used Cracker and my opponent didn't, and because of all the speed factors from all these units that I basically could not anticipate, the enemy's Snake Man had his special right on clock. So while mine just attacked right before having his, right? So I would say don't rely too much on that. It's not because your cooldown timer is shortened that you will necessarily have your special out before the enemy. So in that sense, you either have to have a better speed to shorten the time between each attack, or have a defense up in case. Gear 4, well, he's not used, right, but it's a funny unit. If you think about it, 4 times attack to one enemy, that's easy 8 to 9k, right? And then he reduces his attack by level 10 and defense down to everybody, which yeah, honestly sucks. It sucks. But let's take an example. Imagine you build like a blitz fighter or free spirit team. He has like 220 speed, which is one of the highest in the game, and his special aims for the one that has the highest HP. But imagine, well, most likely Bullet is gonna be the one with the highest HP, but what's gonna happen is that with that amount of speed you have, you're just gonna hit every unit around. And for example, if you have a Big Mom that is camping behind, she's likely gonna be the one that gets hit by his special, and boom, she's already almost done. And his cooldown is pretty short, so with the speed he has, it's likely you're gonna be able to use his special before any additional defense gets added up by the enemy's specials. I don't know, I just have a feeling that there's something to do with that Luffy. The main problem is just like always, it's another Luffy. There's better out there, but yeah, I feel like there's something. Yeah, I want to see a good team with him. That would be interesting. Kizaru, or this one is a highly recommended unit for Blitz teams. He has one of the shortest cooldown, and in his special he can boost the attack up to level 7, and in his passive he increases the speed and speeds up the cooldowns as well. In an optimal Blitz team with Kizaru, he spams his special over and over, and it's just constant harassment without a single enemy to be able to use their special. He's really one of the candidates for a Blitz team that I would like to work on to see if it could be a reliable option against those Snake Man, Big Mom and Cracker team. Shirahoshi 6+, well, she's basically better than Shiramanchuri, and you know what to expect. She just camps behind and heals up 4k now and then. She's a potential pain in the ass. Sanji, talked about him before, could be really dangerous if the placing is in your favor, but otherwise, yeah, that range is really not good. Dofi 6 Plus could be a good alternative for Tesoro in driven teams for defense. Frigitora V1, yeah, this guy's a pain in the ass as well. The HP curse is ridiculous. You know, you just lose 50% of your HP, no questions asked. Hody, probably the best option for powerhouse defense. He does fixed damage to one enemy and boosts the defense to level 6, and it's basically long enough to tank a hit from Snake Man. The fact that he's really slow can get you into troubles, right? But otherwise, yeah, he's really good unit, really good unit. Capone, the guy who does not want to die. He is most of the time the last one standing because he just casually heals 5k, plus he has crazy defense increase for a very long time, and then in his passive he increases the HP plus some extra self defense. He's honestly one of the best defense unit. That's one hell of a tank. Okay, I'm gonna finish up with what I would like to see in PvP because this video is clearly too long now. So I would like to see an increased number of fights per day or a shorter season, because as I said before, it is not satisfying to spend so much gem for so little playtime, especially because it is auto. You don't even play, you just watch stuff happen for a minute or less and that's it. Let the full power attacks run without the possibility to be interrupted by special. Makes it unfair. Make the rules matter. I don't know, do something that could maybe make us use more the rare recruits, because the rare recruits are pretty much irrelevant at this point. It's just all legend teams. So I don't know, it could be interesting to make something like that. I saw some guys making some theme teams. I don't know, maybe I saw some things that were interesting, like Christmas, the German 66, stuff like that. But some are obviously gonna be trash. Like I saw some guy making like a kid German team. Obviously it's not gonna go far with that, but you know what I mean, it could be interesting to build something more unique, because at the moment all those are just worthless against Snake Man, Whitebeard, Bullet, Cracker, Hody, and you can't even blame the people using them, because you know you gotta do what you gotta do to win. But it's a shame. It's a shame that we're just stuck with seeing the same team over and over. They should do something to kind of broaden the variety. And this would be good if they take time in between seasons to kind of fix the oh it started already. Oh, okay. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you disagree with something, if there's anything you want to add, I'll be happy to read it. Alright, now I'm going to donate my right kidney to Pokimane, so yeah, I'm out.